Max Holloway versus Ilia Topuria could be a huge fight, and arguably the biggest fight in this generation. However, it hasn't been set yet, and we're not even sure if it's going to be the next one for either man. Since Topuria has been bipolar, he's been all over the place, saying he'll only fight Max if the BMF title's up for grabs, and that Max would be an easy fight. Or how about the fact that Ilia Topuria is rejecting a rematch with Alex Volkanovski? And honestly, I hope Topuria is just chasing headlines with this talk, because right now those are the two biggest fights out there, especially the one for Max. I mean, if he just fights Alex again, I feel like Alex would just get steamrolled. He seems to have almost no chance against Topuria, but Max, on the other hand, totally deserves a title shot, in my opinion. And before I break this down, I just gotta say something. I've seen plenty of Topuria fans claiming that this fight's gonna be a total wipeout. They're tossing around the casual and dumb opinion like Holloway lost to Volkanovski 3 times and has 7 losses, while Topuria's undefeated. While Topuria's undefeated numbers don't lie. Topuria's gonna crush him whether it's standing up or on the ground. Honestly, that's just wild talk. Get the hell out of my YouTube video, bro. Leave, don't even comment here, bro. Max has been battling top tier fighters for years and rarely gets knocked down, not losing a non-title fight for a long time. In contrast, Ilia Topuria, who had a handful of UFC fights, hasn't faced the same level of competition. His biggest win was against Volk, right after Volk suffered a brutal knockout by Islam Makhachev. Topuria got a shot at the belt mainly because he was one of the few guys left that neither Volk nor Max has managed to beat yet. And look, with all that being said, I think Max Holloway is a nightmare matchup for Ilia Topuria. Now, in 145, he isn't going to be as big or as muscular as we just saw him in 155. So what I'm trying to say is that he's not going to have that much power, just like how we just saw him in his last fight with Justin. I don't think Max should engage with Topuria like he did with Gaethje, since Topuria's bread and butter is the pocket boxing. And even though Max will give him a tough matchup, Topuria's got some serious skills in the boxing that could give him the edge to potentially win this fight, especially on the inside, like those killer body shots he lands, and the way he can turn the fight around is just wild. Now, does he pack more of a punch than Justin? No, not really, but his boxing technique is on another level. And that does get me a bit worried for Max's chances, because Ilia Topuria is known for his strategic use of boxing techniques in his fights. He typically starts off with a precise jab and a powerful straight shot to establish his range and his pace. He builds up to more complex combinations and comes from different angles, and he knocks you out. And Max normally tends to struggle with shorter fighters. Max typically squats more to hit these smaller guys, and Topuria is low-key small. His height is like what, 5'7"? When Max squats down to the level with his opponent, this is gonna mess up his footwork, so we're not going to see him as well as we saw him when he fought someone like Justin. So that's actually quite concerning. I think Max has 2 ways to win this fight. The first option is for him to absorb the hits while being aggressive, pressing the fight towards Topuria, effectively turning it into a gritty 5-round battle. This could exhaust Ilia, who has shown signs of fatigue in his fight with Josh Emmett. If Ilia starts to get tired, Max could then capitalize on this with his high volume striking to potentially knock him out. Now, the other preferable option is that Max is going to stay out of the range, specifically in the outside, and he's going to use a lot of kicks. We've seen him use this countless times in different types of fights, but I believe in this fight, it's going to work tremendously. Since Topuria doesn't throw any kicks, he's very boxing heavy, and Ilia has been caught like twice by a head kick by 2 different people in his MMA career. Topuria has been caught with a head kick in both of his fights, one against Steven Gonzalez and Jai Herbert. And this normally tends to happen when he's pushed back. It shows that he's a bit shaky on the back foot. If anyone can take advantage of this, it's Max. He's got the skills to push Topuria back, handle his punches, and capitalize on those weaknesses. As good as Topuria's offense is, it doesn't entirely contrast with his defense, which seems lackluster at best. Now, when it comes to the grappling aspect, I'm aware of Topuria's jiu-jitsu and that it's very high level. He has very good submissions, and I've seen people like the Weasel claiming that he could potentially go there and take down Max and out-grapple him. But the thing is, when was the last time you seen Max get out-grappled? His defense for his takedowns are extremely well if you pay attention. When Max has squared off against wrestlers, he really has shown his skills, like when he shut down nearly all of Frankie Edgar's takedowns. He did the same thing with Ortega, who's a great grappler, and even Alex Volkanovski, who's actually a pretty solid wrestler, but people tend to forget that. I honestly think that Max will be able to stuff majority, if not all, of Ilia's takedowns. I think the grappling aspect is just going to cancel out entirely, and I think the fight is mostly going to play off on the feet, making it super unpredictable. Considering what I said earlier, it's just too close to call. It's going to be a really tight matchup between these two. I can't give you a solid pick, but if I had to choose, I might lean slightly towards Max, though I gotta admit there might be a bit of biasy there. But man, I'm just itching to see this fight happen, because as much as we, the fans, like to speculate and break it down, the truth is we won't really know until the fight actually happens. The sport is so unpredictable, and that's why I love it. But with all that being said, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and like always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and like always guys, I'll see you guys on my next one.